Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night Live with Bill Tucci.
Behold his mighty hand.
Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang.
Just want to manage expectations.
Weird.
This is the worst.
We're back.
Bonsoir.
Debbie's like, so the reason why we're back, and I want to thank Jennifer for joining us, is that Debbie's like, well, you told everyone you're launching at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm like, I guess I'll go back on for a little bit, for a half hour, 45 minutes. Have my old pal JC Vaughn here. Welcome, Old Bean.
Hello, Old Bean.
Like to talk. We're going to talk about some campaigns. We're going to talk about your campaign that you guys are live on Kickstarter right now as well. Captain Action versus Al Capone Vampire. Which I love that series. I love the Frame Brothers. I love you. I love Captain Action. What more could anyone ask?
It is. Let me tell you, it's a pretty freaking cool book. I'm really happy with, genuinely, and you know how rarely I say that about my own stuff. Hello, Dan. Hello, Pastmaster Dan.
Pastmaster Dan and Dan Genovese, the great Dan Genovese, the great Pastmaster Dan.
I gotta say though, let's talk a little bit about.
Let me go to my Facebook page because real quick, Old Bean. Yes. My Facebook page is set to, it's locked. So my audience is locked. So no one saw our launch.
That's horrible.
It sure is. And then so I'm going to go live with this. Hang on, I got to edit.
Absolutely.
So whenever I go live, it goes. Now I'm live. Now it's my audience is set to locked for some reason, and I have no idea. So I want to say hello, everybody out there in Facebook land. We are now live. Teen Sensation Billy Tucci, Jeff, Tex, Old Bean, Vaughn, and yeah. Let me.
Okay, so
I got all these screens open from the Blood.
For the people that missed it due to the scheduling error, let's just call it that.
I made a mistake.
No, let's not point fingers.
It's all my fault. It's always my fault. But
the campaign literally funded inside of the first minute it was launched, yes, which is something I've never seen. It was spectacular. You are now, and I think I'm doing this in my head, I think it's like 800, and I'm bad at math, 880%.
Real? Okay, hang on. Let's see. Let's see where we're at. Oh, wow.
Look at that.
That is, I get so many windows open. Thank you, everybody. We're approaching $5,000 on our first less than 2 hours on this campaign. Thank you, guys.
And and the great thing about this is that this is a power of two things. One, the Tucci Troopers are a pretty great group. And yes, two, Rocketeer is pretty freaking cool.
Pretty freaking cool,
and
dude.
I guess there's a third factor here, which is you told a really cool story in just 8 pages, and it's
6
excellent.
pages.
Oh yes, it's excellent to get to drill down and see what people are going to get with this special art edition, and see the pencils, the inks, the finished product, and even the script. And
yes. Yep.
I'm really psyched about that because you did what you did, and I said this in the last hour. You did what you did in Sergeant Rock Lost Battalion, which was you injected, the comic book character, the Rocketeer, into a real world setting, interacting with a real world hero. Why don't you talk about Pavlichenko there for a little bit?
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you, Obie. And again, so when Scott Dunbar, I think I approached Scott Dunbar that I wanted to play a part in the Comics Ukraine book. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if he got in touch with me. Thank you, Old Bean, for that. Or if I got in touch with him that I wanted to contribute, or he reached out to me, and then he said, "Well, how would you like to do a Rocketeer story? Because I know you love the Rocketeer." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, heck yeah!" Now you got to think. This is also less than a month before San Diego Comic-Con, and he said he needed the book by San Diego, my story. So he gave me 6 pages to do it, and just research, and I've known about Lyudmila Pavlichenko. I've known about her just because I'm a fair student of World War II, and that she was the most successful female sniper in world history. Not far behind. She most likely, had she survived, and she did survive the war, but if she kept going throughout the war, she most likely would have been the greatest sniper of all time, or the most confirmed kills, the most. How do we say that? Not most successful, the most effective.
Yeah, well, that is successful. That's success for a sniper.
That is success. If you can't kill a Nazi, I think killing Nazis is a good success. Yes, Carlos Hathcock was our Vietnam sniper, but Lyudmila had racked up over 300 kills by late 41 when she was pulled off the line by the propagandists who wanted to use her as a propagandist. So then she ended up traveling to the UK, traveling to the United States.
She got to Canada as well.
Yep, and met with Eleanor Roosevelt. And just thinking of that, I'm like, what a great story. So I had to open the story because I have an idea for that when she does come to the United States.
Where does she rank? Because you point out that if she had continued, she would have been among the most successful ever.
Yeah,
I mean, she is among the most successful ever.
Yes,
if she would have been the most successful male or female. Who was the top sniper?
The top sniper. Someone had found the top sniper in our last stream, so I'm not quite sure who it was. It was a Soviet sniper. Well, let me see. Soviet. I'll do that right now. He had like 450 kills. Soviet snipers. WW2. Snipers of the Soviet Union. All right. Now, there's Vasily Zaitsev, who's the best known sniper, but he does not have the most kills.
One of the things that I love about, okay, I'm going to digress slightly here for a minute when we're talking about Vasily Zaitsev, is that Jean-Jacques Arnaud, in directing Enemy at the Gates, doesn't shy away from the brutality of the Soviet system to show you that this guy was still a hero for defending his homeland.
Right. And the most successful sniper was Ukrainian as well. Fadir, you know what? I'm just gonna share it. Not gonna be able to pronounce that last name. Let's talk snipers. That's gonna be a fun show. Here we go. Here he is, right there, Fadir. Let's get to my thing here. There you go, Old Bean. Fadir. I don't know if you pronounce the T.
Trofimovich.
Diachenko. I think it's actually
Diachenko. It's Diachenko is easy enough.
Yeah, Diachenko. I think if we read it backwards, it's probably easier.
Thank you. Yeah, you know what? You realize with the patronymic there, that was his. You know, that's based on his father's name. I don't think I've ever heard some derivation of that as a first name.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So here's our chap. 400. What did it say? 424, killing 425 enemy soldiers. He was hero of the Soviet Union. Is that what he finished with? Let's see how many he ended up. Yeah, 425, and then they pulled him off the line and used him for their Ruski Red Army propaganda. But I guess it's,
Well, that's what happened. That's what happens. It would become one of those things that it would be too much a PR blow if that person is killed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here we are, guys. We just launched this an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. The campaign, we already over $4,400. Thanks to each and every one of our backers who did help us. This is on our Kickstarter campaign. We also are live, Old Bean. For those of you that may not be Kickstarter people, because what I've come to learn is that there are Kickstarter backers and there are Indiegogo backers. This campaign is also live on Indiegogo. Now, our numbers here, because it is it's tied in with the She specials. So we've probably, I think when this campaign started, we were at, for the She Second Coming campaign, because I combined the campaigns, at I think $19,000. So we're close to, we're about $3,000 in on this campaign from Monday evening when we launched on Ethan's stream. So the campaign is also on Indiegogo for the Indiegogo backers out there, for the Indiegogo fans. If you guys could please support us, we truly appreciate that. We are hoping to do some good with this book, as well as we don't know what our numbers are going to be like, of course, but a portion of the proceeds will be donated to the Harry Cell Leukemia Foundation in Dave Stevens' name, thanks to you guys, due to your pledges. And if we could put out a really terrific project, a really terrific product, something I'm super proud of, something that gives you a cool insight into the creation of a comic book story, and do some good while we're at it, not too shabby.
And the great thing about this is, if you've read the story in the Comics for Ukraine book, you're going to get multiple layers of this thing through what's presented in this special edition.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, I know I keep saying it, but this is, I mean, literally, it's the script on up. Starts with the script, then the pencils, the finished product, and then as presented in the original comic. It's just glorious. Was it colored by Brian Miller, Billy?
It was colored by Brian Miller.
And
wonderfully lettered by Mindy Lopkin. So you'll see all of that in the book itself. We're looking at, I was thinking of we're gonna have to do like a $10,000 stretch goal. I think a nice, cool little trading card is down the pipe.
One of the things we haven't mentioned that might be fitting for such a project, Billy, is that this also includes some of your developmental material, your sketches and stuff like that.
100%. Thank you.
Maybe one of them could be finished up to be the trading card.
Oh, that's a good idea. That is a good idea. I'm trying to find.
That's why I'm here. It's why I bother speaking.
That is why you are here. I'm trying to find my see friendship with Mitch Halleck. Let's see. Here we go. Because I think the idea for the first trading card, because we do have to get this going and we have to move on to She Gatecrasher, Old Bean.
I've heard that.
Yes, it's not really showing up. Let's see if it's on my Facebook page. Let's see. Come on. Here we go. Here we go. Come on, Mitch. So I tagged Mitch Halleck and I'm trying to see photos of Mitch and I, because I did a cool I did a drawing for Mitch for being a guest at Terrificon. Not there. I'll have to go home. Go to my.
So while you're looking for that, we'll talk
Let's go.
about
The
post from the Canuck here. And it says,
"Hail, Billy, back today. Thank you. Hail, JC. Where's Niall tonight? Keep up the great work. Trying to back all your stuff, Billy. Waiting on my price guide. Thank you so much. We've been packing them all. I think the price guides might have all went out actually yesterday.
No, Debbie ordered some more, and our warehouse is shipping more to you on Monday.
Oh, terrific. Thank you so much. All right, so that's going to go out. Niall's sons have swimming at 6 p.m. So they're taking the boys to swimming, Niall and his darling wife, the Farah. Past Master Dan, yes, I did. I got to meet Dave. Oh, no, that's Heya Canuck. I just saw, where is it? Did you meet Billy Tucci, did you meet Dave? Yes. Met Dave in 1994. Became friends with him around 1999 when I got to actually hang out with him at 98 in California, in LA. And we would talk on the phone all the time. I only saw him once a year at San Diego. And he truly was a prince of a man.
I met Dave the same period you did, San Diego '94, and a couple times after that, only as a fan.
Yeah.
It's really rare for me to, even when I am in awe of somebody's storytelling power and all that, it's really, I just don't care about celebrity. You know, I've got famous friends, I've got wealthy friends. They're just people, you know. I don't get up that I could barely talk in front of Dave.
I know.
And I got to say that one of the greatest experiences I had with him was in the American Association of Comic Book Collectors, which sadly isn't around anymore, hosted a 50th anniversary dinner for the EC creators that were still alive.
Oh, sweet.
And Will Elder, who worked on many things, but on a lot of the humorous stuff, Mad, Panic, so on, had been honored the night before for his first award in his career, which is just the dumbest crap I've ever heard.
Wow.
And there was basically one of these creators at every table.
Wow.
And so at the end of it, we all were going around with our programs to have them sign. And I was standing behind Dave when we were in line for Will Elder. And to me, I really genuinely believe that if you listen, people will tell you what you need to know about them. So Dave is very, very cordial, talking to Will Elder, and Will Elder is very old at that point, very polite and almost reverential. And Will Elder says, "Oh, what do you do?" and Dave doesn't say, "Oh, I'm the creator of the Rocketeer. I do this, da 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 da." He only says, "Oh, I'm an artist too."
Wow.
And I get choked up talking about it because, man, when you look at the giants on whose shoulders we're standing, that's how we should act.
100%.
So that told me more about Dave Stevens than any of the stories that anybody else ever told me. I get teary talking about it because he wasn't around a whole lot later.
Yeah.
You know?
So when you did go up to Dave at San Diego, right? Because he was sitting at his table. He had his, I waited on.
I bought some prints. I probably spent money I didn't have.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, okay, I'll take one. Okay. Could you sign this? Yeah. And it was, and I was, and I was already an Overstreet guy by the time that I saw him again in '95. And I right now I'd walk up and introduce, "Hey, I'm J.C. Vaughn from the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide. Love your stuff." And the usual way in, you talk about it's the friends you've got in common and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I knew people that knew Dave. It didn't matter. And like I was telling you and his sister on the last segment of this show, let's say.
Yes.
I've bought Dave's Rocketeer work in every iteration that has been produced in the US.
Yeah.
I can't help it. And I even joke about it now because I'm powerless before it.
Yeah. He's the guy that at San Diego in '94, he's the one I wanted to meet.
Yeah.
Of everyone
really?
There.
Wow.
I didn't even really care. It would have been great to meet Stan Lee, but then again, I guess Stan Lee met me because Debbie brought Stan Lee over.
I have a Stan Lee story from '94. I have a Stan Lee story from '94.
Okay, what's your Stan Lee story?
All right. I stopped Rosina outside of the convention. That's my first San Diego, just like it's yours. No, yours was '93.
Mine was '93 when I was trying to get a job.
My first one's '94. The '94 is where I met you. I stopped Rosina outside And I say, and I just want to caution her, and I say, sweetie, do you know what it means to be queen of the geeks? And she says, no. And I said, you're about to. And she says, what do you mean? I go, you're a girl. And
Yeah.
and I said, I've checked. And she just poo-pooed it, right?
Right.
We get inside, and 10 minutes later, Stan is telling her the origin of Spider-Man.
That's
You
great.
know?
Yep.
I mean, and just a few years later, when Sailor Moon kicks in, the demographic of the convention changed entirely,
Right.
and in the space of like 5 years.
Right.
And for the better. I mean, way better. It's totally a family thing, not just this cult of guys doing escapism. It's family activity, which is just phenomenal for all of us.
Yeah.
But that back then, that was the thing, and the women that were there, Deb, and Ro, and Francisco Polito, and just the other, they were, all it took was being a strong, confident, pretty woman, and you sort of got what you wanted there.
Oh yeah. Like Deb. I was there signing, and some guy, is waiting online. He goes, hey, do you mind if I take a picture with your booth, babe?
That's great.
And it was Deb. I'm like, hey, honey. And she's like, yeah. I said, this guy wants to take a picture of my booth, babe. Or I think I said, hey, booth, babe, or something. This guy would take a picture of you. And Debbie's like, sure.
That's phenomenal, man.
That was crazy.
But you realize that Dave just had a regular table. You walked up to him,
yeah,
and it was just like he's just sitting there like he's human.
Yeah.
But I still, and this is so funny because I'm so not like this.
Yeah.
And I met so many of these guys starting back in the 80s when I worked at Lone Star. I mean, I met Frank Miller at like Daredevil 168.
Wow.
Like 10 issues in, all these guys. Matter of fact, when we met him, my buddy Weldon Adams had him sketch Wolverine, and it was literally, he had to get him reference. He had to get him some comics.
This is after the Wolverine came out.
No.
Oh, it's
this is
before?
literally the sketch that Weldon has to this day is the first Wolverine sketch by Frank Miller.
Wow.
And get this, we didn't get it dated.
Oh.
The punchline is, in recent years, Frank authenticated it for him and dated it.
No way.
He says, this is the first time I drew Wolverine on it now.
When did he see?
It was a show. It was at a show in Dallas. Weldon lives down there and works for Heritage Auctions.
Oh, he does. Okay.
And but Weldon had a career that did many different things in comics, from retail to sales and editorial and all sorts of stuff like that. We worked together. We met in junior college and worked together at Lone Star and also at Avis.
Isn't that interesting?
So no, probably not interesting to many people, but sure is to me.
Oh, I think it's wicked interesting for sure.
And he did this sketchbook. He did this sketchbook, since we're digressing. He did this sketchbook matching artists and their styles to the mutants of the Marvel Universe. So he has Bob Layden doing Colossus. Layden always did Iron Man, so they doing an armor character was great. I think the coolest one, he has a Bill Sienkiewicz Sasquatch.
Oh wow!
And yeah, Bill Sienkiewicz Sasquatch and a Pete Craig Russell Mesmero. And it's a badass collection.
I don't know if I know P.K. Craig Russell
Oh, you
or
sure should.
Mesmero.
Mesmero's an X-Men villain, and not a great one, but it's sort of hypnotic powers. I'm surprised if you don't know Craig Russell's work. We'll have to change that.
All right, we can change that for sure. Dan Genovese wants to know if we will be at New York Comic Con. Old Bean.
I'm planning on being there 2 days. The retailer day on the Wednesday, and then the Thursday walking around. I'm not going to be set up. Are you?
I will be at the Hot Flips table.
Oh, nice. You're doing that
on Thursday. Deb and I will be there. It is Matthew's weekend. It's parents' weekend at Penn State, so we're going to be going there. And he sent it to his mother, not me, but he got his locker today, so it was gear day at the school for wrestling, and he sent us a picture with his name on his locker, and they gave him a whole bunch of swag, like everything, like anything they would want, they all have. So
it's very nice.
Yeah.
Now, Dan Lawless has a good comment here, Billy.
Where's the great Dan Lawless? Shoot, by George, there he is. What's up, Dan Lawless? What's up, Tarks? Good to see you, buddy.
See,
Craig Russell is an amazing talent. Well, is he a contemporary of ours? Is he?
Over? He started ahead of us, but he's still working, and has done great stuff whenever he's done stuff. His probably widest sales probably is War of the Worlds that he did with Don McGregor at Marvel.
Oh, wow.
But he also has done the Jungle Book.
Oh, wow.
Adapting Kipling.
Then I
And
must.
a whole series of opera adaptations. Also some great just plain science fiction stuff published early Eclipse stuff. And just monumental talent and compelling storyteller in terms of like he could do layouts and make virtually any artist look good.
Well, then I will definitely have to look at. I will have to look into that and check out Mr. Russell. Always out for something good, like we all are. Like a sponge. I want to let you guys know here too, because getting messages, Deb, about Indiegogo. And yes, we are live on Indiegogo with this campaign as well. We attach it to our existing She's Second Coming campaign. But you can get almost all the same perks as the Kickstarter exclusive. All the main ones are the same. But all the books are there, the same prices, everything like that. So if you guys could please back Lyudmila Pavlichenko on Indiegogo or Kickstarter, we truly appreciate it.
We're now up to 900%.
Wow. And you know what, O'Bean? And speaking of 900% and incredible storytellers and talents and all around great guys and all around great properties, let's look into this. Captain Action versus Al Capone Vampire. What the devil?
Indeed.
And you've just passed your funding goal. Well done, Old Bean.
Thank you very much.
14 days to go. Let's look at this video, shall we?
Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't mean to. I meant to shrink the video. I'll find
That's
it again.
Okay. Here we are. Thanks for showing that.
So many gosh darn screens. Old Bean, Congratulations on the launch of the book. It's good to see that you have now passed your funding goal. But let's get
Yep,
more.
We're headed to our first stretch goal is $27.50, which everybody will get a PDF version of the script, and then just $250 after that, at $3,000, they'll get a beautiful Captain Action trading card. You can, if you scroll down toward the bottom, you can see the image for that. We got to do the color corrections, but it's pretty close now.
What is the gist of Captain Action versus Al Capone Vampire?
That's the trading card, by the way. You just passed it.
Oh yeah, that's a great cover.
Yeah. What's really great about it? Is Brendan and Brian Frame, or our artists, and our regular artists and co-creators on Al Capone Vampire. They did this as a pinup to sell on their website. They just have something before Terrificon. They want to do it. And I go, nah, that's not that. That's a trading card. And I sent it to Mort Todd, and he colored it up and did a kick-ass job with it.
Who is this young chap?
That's Action Boy.
Actually, not Action Lad.
Action Boy.
Action Boy.
And Lady Action is the one on the other side.
That I'm familiar with.
And it's a so anyhow, basically, there's the story behind the story is that Captain Action is the first superhero action figure. It was a licensing genius. Some of the guys that were involved in creating G.I. Joe created this character that would put on the outfit or mask of another character and become them. And in something I don't think you could ever pull off today, they licensed from Marvel, DC, and King Features Syndicate.
Crazy.
So just like G.I. Joe and Barbie had the action figure and then various outfits to put on, Captain Action had a Spider-Man outfit, a Captain America outfit, a Batman outfit, a Steve Canyon outfit, a Sergeant Fury outfit, a Phantom outfit. And he would become those characters. And so when DC came along and licensed Captain Action, they created a comic book, but obviously they couldn't have him being the Marvel characters in that. And they really couldn't even have him being the DC characters because it was a licensed book.
Right.
So they got one of their top writers, young, then 16-year-old Jim Shooter.
16-year-old Jim Shooter.
Yeah, and he was already a veteran by that point.
He's been writing comics for 3 years or so, almost 2.5 years.
Yeah. And what's really great in terms of trivia about Captain Action #1 is obviously it's not Jim's first published work. You have Legion stories and other things before that, but it is Jim's first published credit. And he basically, Jim, when he did his story scripts back then, he did layouts. He sent layouts with them, suggestions to the artist.
Right.
Wally Wood, sort of, I think I'm safe in saying notoriously, wasn't that fond of writers. Treated Jim like an artist, and Wally had always signed his work. And so he put Jim's name in there, and so that becomes Jim's first public credit.
Now, do you think did Wally know that Jim was only 16 years old?
I don't know. There's a story about Gil Kane talking to an audience about writers he liked, and he mentioned this new guy, Jim Shooter, unaware that Jim as a kid was in the audience. But the whole thing about Jim that's so fascinating is that so many, because he started so young, you look at him and he's only in his 70s, but a lot of his peers are gone.
Yeah.
I mentioned to him one time over lunch that I was really proud because I had worked for 15 years to get permission to use an unpublished Joe Shuster sketch as a Overstreet cover. And he says to me, just like in between bites of his sandwich, Jerry Siegel used to hang out in my office. I'm like, there's certain guys I will never try to name drop with,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And Jim's it. But in true Jim Shooter fashion, he, created a good setup for the character, very different than what we had seen in the action figure setup, but it worked. After 2 issues, it changed editors, and so Gil Kane wrote and illustrated it after issue, I think, 3 through 5. But it's pretty freaking cool. Great trivia thing. And then since then, there's been comics from Moonstone, and then our pal Nick Barucci published Codename Action at Dynamite. In my mind, they've all had some really great elements to them, and I just wanted to add to that with a sort of longer perspective of how this might work without the licensed part of it. So I wanted to really play up the Mission Impossible kind of James Bond element of Captain Action. And of course, he's got a historical adversary, Dr. Evil.
Right.
But the Captain Action guys actually are permitting us, your perfect timing here, Billy.
Thank you.
To introduce their new villain, which will be an action figure, I think either later this year or early next year, Professor Fangs.
Professor Fangs.
And it's given me a chance to have, and I'm going to get my own line wrong. How's that? But gave me a chance to have Capone say, I've sort of have a new appreciation of Fangs.
Yeah.
But I'm real excited about doing that. But I really wanted to do the Captain Action story I wanted to read. And we had done the story for about 46 pages. It's a 48-page book. And the guys, Brendan and Brian, came back to me and said they wanted to extend the fight sequence. And I go, good, because we actually need a little more Capone in the book, because I didn't want, it's not, Captain Action is not my character. I wanted there to be no question that we were treating him very, very fairly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that cover right there is by John Snyder III.
Mm-hmm.
That gun that Lady Action is holding came with the original package for the Captain America outfit. And John Snyder III is a huge Captain Action fan. His dad was too. And there's all sorts of little Easter eggs like that in the book.
Now, these characters these are the actual original action figures, right?
Lady Action is a new addition from Captain Action Enterprises that came in the Moonstone Comics era. It was not in the original action figure or in the DC series.
Okay. And then what about Action Boy?
He goes back.
But none of these aren't Marvel characters.
No.
Okay. And who's the demented chimp here?
That guy is a zombie, which is that is the side effect of a device of gas created by Professor Fangs.
Excellent, Professor Fangs. Excellent. Well, guys, I'm going to put the link, or someone could put the link in the comments, because I didn't put it in the description because I rushed this to go live, because, again, people were expecting us to go live at 7 Eastern time, and we went live at 5 Eastern Daylight Time. So Debbie's like, you really should go back up and
before we go back and talk about Rocketeer some more, because this is what we really should do.
Yep.
I would scroll down. I wanted to show people the pages. Scroll down on the main part.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going. That's the Kickstarter exclusive cover right there. There'll be more. There'll be something different in the Indiegogo later.
What Indiegogo later? Are you launching an Indiegogo later?
I'm doing that on Tuesday, Billy.
Tuesday.
Yes.
Excellent. What time on Tuesday are you going live?
I don't know. We haven't talked about that, have we?
No, we haven't. Let's talk. Because we have the professionals at 7 p.m., but maybe go on like 6 or something.
We could go on at 6 and do that. That sounds great.
All right.
And so if we scroll down a little bit further, you got some of the pages.
Oh yeah.
And
So
I just love the pre-credit sequence in Casino Royale that's mostly black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I asked Brian Miller to color these pages, I really wanted the Ford GT to stand out and look like the real blue on that car, which is just amazing. Probably the only super expensive car I would buy if I had like Mega Millions money. And then inside, it goes through, and then at the bottom, this for fans who backed Al Capone #0, this teaser was in that issue, and it goes in black and white until we get this big splash of color on page 5. But the bottom of this page, the next page that you're showing is page 4. This is page 4. A great line there. This is a job for Captain Action.
Yeah, and you've waited to do that. You've wanted to do that.
Oh my gosh, and I wasn't going to do it if it didn't fit. That was the whole thing. And then you get the first splash of real color on the next page, and there'll be credits at the bottom of that page too. So Captain Action, Lady Action, Al Capone, and then Duncan Leeds is the guy in the background. Al Capone's #2.
Excellent. How many pages is the book? It's full color.
It's 48 pages, full color. We're looking at November finished with it. The interiors will be done. I think we're at page 33 now. And so the guys are cruising along. They had to stop.
Way ahead of the game.
They had to stop and do a Three Stooges story. What was really great about that was when I first came to them. I wrote an issue for American Mythology. I wrote one of the first Stooges stories, and I asked if the Frames would want to do it, and they're like, they're up to any challenge. These guys are super talented, particularly drawing. One of the things that a lot of people can't understand readily is that people who can draw regular people can draw superhero people, but the opposite is not necessarily true.
Oh, sure.
And
sure.
these guys can draw
John Byrne's children, the way he draws babies.
They all have Sue Richards' face.
Yeah,
and the whole thing about it to me is that these guys, like I said, they're so good. They're up for any real challenge, but they actually sort of scoffed at me when I said, "Yeah, you ought to send in your art for Three Stooges." And they're like, "How will that work in comics?" Guess who have been the main artists for the entire run from American Mythology? Is Brendan and Brian, man.
Brendan and Brian Frame.
Yeah. And their stuff is so good. And
they really are. They're terrific.
And so this cover right there, the wraparound, it's just dynamite, man. Look at that.
Yeah.
Great coloring from Brian Miller. Design work, making two logos that are designed to be independent work together.
Yeah, that's no easy task.
And I've got. It's funny, as I was working on the trailer for the Kickstarter, I realized that I actually do have another story for this. So,
let's get this funded.
If the guys like the finished product and the fans support it, we could do another.
Yeah, please. And look at it, guys. Again, from one of the good guys in the industry, he's already passed his goal. But you know what? That's the minimum to be able to produce this book. Let's support JC Vaughn and team Captain Action versus Al Capone Vampire.
I will say, listen, I do want to say one thing, Billy. Thank you for mentioning the Captain Action thing, because that did spur me there. The guys at Captain Action Enterprises, Joe Ahern, Michael Polis, and Ed Cato, are guys that I've known for a while. I usually participate in the Captain Action panels at San Diego. As a comics historian, I'm a little bit of an expert on it, and I certainly can speak to it when I'm on the panels. But I want to say they've been great to work with, and they've been protective of their characters, but at the same time, they've let us do what we wanted. And the whole team on this book is the Al Capone team. We've been really fortunate. John Snyder's done another cover for us before, Brendan and Brian. and both Brian Miller and Mort Todd have colored stuff for us before. And so, and of course, Mindy is our letterer and Don, our designer. It's the same team that we usually get. So I think you're going to get, if you've liked the previous stuff, you're going to get that same level of consistency.
Exceptional. It's a great book. I saw a lot of the art.
With the exception of me, I showed up this time.
Oh, please. You're a prince, for goodness sake. No, the book looks dynamite. You saw like 29 of the first 31 pages. What do you think? I think it's extraordinary. I love the frames artwork. I think you could do a black and white version as well, not to take anything away from the great colors and all, but it's a beautiful book, very atmospheric, and you'd never think that Captain Action would go and Al Capone vampire would make a fair pair, but apparently they do.
The whole thing for me, like we were talking about this over lunch last week, Billy. The whole challenge for this is, can you write the characters so that you're not breaking either world? You're not breaking the rules of either world. And like one of the greatest team ups ever, crossovers, I guess I wouldn't say team up, one of the greatest crossovers ever that does that in a way that you like, when people said it to you, you're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's Archie versus Punisher.
Yeah. But
I mean, it makes no sense. And then when you read it, you go, that's some good work. And listen, if I introduce one of my fans to Captain Action, or preferably some of the Captain Action fans to my work, that'll be great. But what I want everybody to come away with is feeling that like their character was treated right.
Well, you're doing it, old chum. You really are, and it looks fantastic. Everyone, please check it out. Like again, we'll put it in the comments section, and then Jeff, we'll have you back live Tuesday for the launch for the Indiegogo launch.
That sounds fantastic, Billy. Thank you. Let's go back and talk about Rocketeer. Let's check in on the campaign.
Let's see where we're at. I want to show the video too.
Oh, yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah, let's do the. Let's go to the Kickstarter page.
Dude.
Huzzah! Oh, $4,677. Thank you all.
I was just going to say, if it's 46,000, you're buying dinner.
Oh my, yeah, right. Oh, thank you.
Really great. I mean, this is really great. This is in well under 3 hours.
Yeah. So let's go to the video tape. Hello, everyone. Billy Tucci here, and I am so proud to announce Crusade Comics' latest project, the Rocketeer Pavlichenko Special Art Edition. Rocketeer Pavlichenko is a full-color 32-page special featuring my 6-page story that was originally published in the book Comics for Ukraine, Sunflower Seeds, benefiting the refugees of the ongoing Russia-Ukrainian war via crowdfunding platform Zoop and the charity organization Operation USA. In Rocketeer, Pavlichenko, our hero, Cliff Secord, encounters the real-life Ukrainian sniper Lyudmila Pavlichenko in the Crimean Mountains. Lyudmila was credited with over 300 kills during World War II, making her the most successful female sniper in recorded history, and as you'll find out, she's going to have to put all those skills to test to save our hero. This book will feature the original story, plus pages of never-before-published concept artwork, including rough layouts, pencils, inks, script, and bios. So please, join us on this fantastic little adventure. Being involved in this project was truly an honor. I'd like to thank Jennifer Stevens-Baucom for her encouragement, and I'd also like to thank and congratulate Scott Dunbar and all the creators who contributed to Sunflower Seeds on winning the Eisner Award for Best Anthology Book. So thank you. And once again, it's the Rocketeer to the rescue. Huzzah!
Indeed.
And Rocketeer Pavlichenko. Special art.
What was really great was meeting Jennifer last year at San Diego, and then seeing her reactions to this stuff. Very kind, very supportive, and that's really cool.
Yeah. Oh, the Canuck. Hey, Billy, a challenge coin? Boy, we'd have to license that. That might be something different. Imagine that, like a Or maybe if they have Rocketeer Challenge coins or something. That's a great idea to talk to Jennifer about.
It is.
I think that would be huge if she did it.
Yeah, it's
let her do it and get it through them. I'd rather you get it through DaveStevens.com and get it for the Rocketeer.
Well, it's a great thing to suggest to her.
It sure is. It sure is. I don't know if you were present when she told the story of you weren't there for the 20th anniversary of the Rocketeer.
Oh no, that was after I had to cut out.
Yeah. So Jennifer, they had a big screening down in Hollywood for it, and it is so long that I met her because it was right after that. So for the 20th anniversary of the Rocketeer, Jennifer and her mom, and her mother was living with them, drove down and went to the premiere. Billy Campbell was there. A lot of the stars of the film were there. I think Joe Johnston was there. Big ado, right? Big thing. Afterwards, there was a party, and she was hanging out with Billy Campbell the whole time, had his ear, and she and his mother had the greatest time of all these fans and industry people, lauding her son and the work of her son, Dave, who had already passed at this point. They drove back home that later on that evening. And sadly, during the night, Jennifer's mom passed away. So she passed away on the evening after the 20th anniversary premiere of The Rocketeer. So she got to at least see that and enjoy this amazing night.
What a wonderful thing.
Yep.
That's so touching.
Yep.
And
when she was telling us, we were all crying, the three of us, because I'd met her, and it's so bittersweet, right?
But
it's, it's beautiful in a way.
You know what it reminds me of, don't you?
I don't.
Well, you know the story, and you'll know once I start talking about it. You will remember. But you remember when the Army Times picked up the story about Sergeant Rock?
Yes, yeah.
And then syndicated it out to Air Force Times and Coast Guard Times, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
All the military papers picked it up. And one of the things they picked up on, and it was that Lost Battalion is the first time that your narrator character, or anybody, your narrator character,
Kilroy. It was Kilroy.
Right? Yes, no, the other one, gave Sergeant Rock's home address.
Yeah, because that's what Ernie Pyle would do. So what Ernie Pyle would do is when Ernie Pyle, the great World War II correspondent, he would mention these particular soldiers by name and actually put their home address down. Because back in those days, you'd have to worry about nuts coming over and killing you or something like that. It was a sense of pride, and then maybe someone could send letters to them, etc. So
and so I sent it. I sent the article to my dad, and knowing my dad as I did, I said, "I'm just going to stay on the phone while you read this. Don't give it your usual skim job. This will take you 2 minutes." So he puts down the phone. He reads the article, and it says, "Sergeant Frank Rock, 300 Moore Avenue, Pittsburgh, PA." And my dad gets on the phone and he says, "How did you do that?" And that was the house my dad's mom and dad lived in, and his brother when he was born.
Yeah.
And my grandfather built that house. And my dad died the next morning.
Yeah.
And it meant the world that I had that conversation with him. So I get what you just said, man. And it's such a blessing to have had a great last conversation with somebody, a great last time with somebody. My dear friend Sean Sipple has just lost his dad, but he had coffee with him that morning, and his dad had come over and give him some encouraging advice the night before, and that kind of stuff matters, man. I had what turned out to be a gift of a last conversation with Rosina's mom, and these things, they don't matter in a way that you can point out, that you can describe, but they absolutely do matter. And it's really cool that she was able to relate that experience to you, because as guys who are fans of Dave, it's just one of those things that he was such a good guy
Yeah.
that you want the best for the people he loved.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and you get to see him walking her into heaven and say, "So what'd you think of the movie?"
yeah, and
The second
hey,
time.
we're up to 4,700 now, man.
Yeah. Are we really? Oh,
yeah.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
This is really great.
Yeah, sure.
I did want to say there's
Jimmy's a backer. Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy Palmiotti backed it.
That's awesome.
God bless you, Jimmy. Thank you, my pal.
The Dr. Mask's Retro Elixir.
Yes, Dr. Mask.
Great,
Met him at Terrificon.
Great. Yeah, right there about Terrificon that he picked up Vampire PA from Brendan and Brian.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
And so, Dr. Mask, I hope you will read it, and I hope you'll back the new campaign. Capone first appears as a vampire in the very next chapter. If you bought the trade, Vampire PA Bite Out of Crime #1, it's a one-shot, is where Capone appears as a vampire for the first time before events take off into Al Capone Vampire.
Look at that. And it is a great series. It's a great character you created, or we're able to work this historical fiction and fantasy together. I'm a fan of that, not unlike what I did here for Pavlichenko. Hit that one already. I'm trying to go back down to the newer comments. But yeah, I dig that stuff. That's what I like.
Yeah, my favorite part when I was writing what was the crowdfunded #3 and the comic shop #3 and 4 of Al Capone. The fun part was I don't usually do a ton of rewriting. I tweak a lot of stuff, but I don't throw a lot of stuff out and just go after it. But I was doing so much research. Like there's a page in there that's an actual prison document about Capone. We took out the real photo, had Brendan and Brian illustrate our Capone into it. Also his death certificate. We got a copy of the real thing too.
Yeah.
And they're part of the art, and it just kept on, stuff would just make me rewrite stuff. That's rarely an enjoyable process. You can enjoy the work when it's done, but that time it was actually really enjoyable because it was sparking so much in my brain. Wow. What a nice comment from Dan Lawless.
Where's
Billy,
the great
those pages are on a par with Dave Stevens.
Oh, you too kind. You are too you're too kind, my friend. What a beautiful liar he is. Stevens is on a plane of his own. He is a legend. He is, he's my favorite comic book artist of all time.
Deservedly so. And you know what I really like about this, Billy, is you didn't subvert your style a whole lot, but the action action's pretty pure Dave Stevens.
Oh yeah. And and having fun with it. I was having fun with it. And it was for a good cause. And again, hopefully with this, we'll be able to raise enough money that we'll be able to give a sizable amount of a donation to the Hairy Cell Leukemia Foundation.
Not that we're telling this to anybody at Kickstarter.
Right. Not that we're telling anyone at Kickstarter about it, because we can't do that. So, anywho, well, we're past 8 o'clock, Old Bean. I have a go to the American Legion post for a fundraiser that started at 6. So I'm going to take my leave of everyone. Maybe I'll stream tomorrow. I'll be working. Jeff, what are you doing tomorrow? Are you around this weekend?
Shoot me a line, because I could be around. I've got some writing to do.
Okay.
And I'll probably be trying to avoid it. So.
Excellent. So I'm going to show. So right now we are in the first 2 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. We're approaching $5,000 at $7,000. I mean $10,000. I think we're going to offer a Rocketeer trading card, and it's going to be this one of my illustration. So I think that'll be our $10,000 goal, and it'll be a special Rocketeer card. To hit our first stretch goal. We were hoping to make $5,000 on this campaign, so I think we have to start thinking that this might be one of them little books that could.
Yeah, it has that feel. It was I realize you set a very modest goal to start out with,
Yeah.
but you were literally funded in the first minute.
Yeah, that's
and,
great.
And we're well over 900% now.
Yeah.
And that's just on a Friday evening where plenty of people have better things to do. And so this is just rocking along.
Excellent. Agreed. So thank you, everybody. Old Bean, have a good night. I'll talk to you tomorrow. For
Indeed.
those of you watch, John Malin is launching his is it Godlike 3 tomorrow? So John's going to have a big launch too. I thank everyone out there who supported us tonight on this campaign that we've just launched. We've got 20 days to go. It's a very short campaign. It's only 21 days because we're going to move on. And Jeff is the writer for the upcoming She Gatecrasher, which launches next month. So everyone have a great night. Good night. God bless. Stay safe. And blue skies, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on Pop XP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the Pop XP and over on Instagram at the Pop XP. Thanks again everyone, and we'll see you soon.